Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, how are you? My name's Jade, but please call me Jelly. In today's video I wanted to talk about my top 5 favourites, and I kind of want to make this a new series on my channel, talking about different categories and different, things that I'm enjoying. So for the start of this series I wanted to talk about my top 5 favourites on Netflix originals, more precisely. I thought it would be fun to share with you my top 5 favourite things. Maybe in the future I want to talk about my top 5 favourite like makeup brands, clothing brands, that sort of thing. And obviously if you have any ideas of what you want me to talk about for my top 5 faves, leave them in the comments below. I'm open to suggestions. I'd love for you to share your ideas with me, and I thought it would be really fun to share my top 5 favourite Netflix originals with you today. My first favourite is a thriller. It's sort of been kind of popular recently, and so popular it is actually a meme. Some of you may know what I'm talking about, the blindfold. And my favourite top 5 Netflix original thriller has to be Bird Box. It stars Sandra Bullock as the protagonist, and it's I think it's a really good concept. It's sort of like a psychological thriller, not really a horror, but if you're that kind of scared by that kind of thing, I guess it could be a horror. And what I mean by psychological, I don't want to ruin the storyline if you haven't seen it, but basically there is a creature, and if you see it, you die. And I sort of really like that concept about it. I actually thought you could see the creature in the movie, but you can't, and I prefer that. I think the original idea for the movie was that you could see the creature. Each character throughout the storyline, some of them do see this thing, and I think when you see it, or when the person sees it, they either see their greatest loss or their biggest fear, and it does cause them to die in ways that this monster sort of takes over your mind, and it does make the person kill themselves. I should have put a trigger warning at the beginning of this video, which I think is really, really cool, because obviously you don't know what that person has seen. Obviously, like if I was in the film, I'd probably see a clown or something. So you don't really know what each person's fear is, and I think that's really, really good. The storyline is kind of weird. There's a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of things I want to know more about. So hopefully, I pray that they make a second one, because I want those questions answered. Obviously if you haven't seen it, please do, and if you have seen it, I'd love to know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Did you love it? Did you think it was a flop? I'd love to know. The second thing, we all love a good chuckle, a good belly laugh, so I chose a comedy. It's sort of a rom-com, I suppose, but I chose Dumpling. When I saw the trailer, I knew this was something that I just had to watch. It's so up my alley. A lot of recognisable characters in it, such as Jennifer Aniston playing the protagonist, Dumpling's mum. The character, Willardine Dixon, aka Dumpling, she is sort of like a plus size girl, which I can really appreciate because I am a plus size girl, so I do like the theme throughout this movie. I can definitely relate to it. Again, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil. But it's basically Willardine's mum is like a beauty pageant queen, and she is the owner of this beauty pageant. There isn't room for big girls in beauty pageants, which kind of triggered me a little bit. Obviously Willardine wants to join, and then that also inspires some of her, she becomes friends with these people, these girls, and they also join the beauty pageant to sort of form a revolution. And along the way they do meet a few drag queens, and there's Dolly Parton music, and it's so good, it's so funny. There are times where it can get a little bit emotional. As I said, being a plus size girl, it really hit home, very relatable. So I did cry. The end of the movie, it's a really happy ending, makes you feel really good about yourself, and I think if you love drag queens, Dolly Parton, a good laugh, maybe a good cry, please check out Dumpling. If you are a hardcore Netflix watcher, you know, I do binge watch a few series on there. I do have like the typical favourite series, you know, like Stranger Things, not an original, but I love Breaking Bad. But I wanted to think of a really unique series that maybe some of you haven't watched. I'm not really sure about the genre. It's sort of like a comedy, a bit of like suspense, definitely. There is a bit of violence in there. The series is called Happy. When I saw the trailer for it, I was like, okay, like, what is this? And it's basically about this ex-cop, also turned hitman. He's sort of like on a rescue mission to rescue this kidnapped girl. And ironically, I would class it as a Christmas movie because it is set around Christmas, and basically this girl is kidnapped by sort of a weird, demented, evil Santa character, and this cop kind of thinks like he's losing his mind. He has an injury, gets taken to like this hospital, and he starts hallucinating, or so he thinks he's hallucinating, this girl's imaginary friend that is a unicorn. Such a weird concept. It's sort of like, because the characters are like real, played by humans, and the animated character obviously is a cartoon, and they're put together and it's so well done. Obviously you have the cartoon and the realism, and it's so good, it's so funny. A few sad moments, so you a bit emotional, but it's a really good concept. Again, I think it's more an adult kind of film. You think, oh, cartoons, I'll let my kids watch it. Like, don't do that. But yeah, it's called Happy. It's kind of I would say a short series. Yeah, my boyfriend binge watched it in one afternoon evening because it was just so good. Couldn't stop playing it. Just let it roll, just let Netflix do its thing, and it was so good. Really enjoyed it, so watch Happy. If you're like me, you enjoy a good documentary, you know, everyone likes real life, everyone like, I like watching murders, like, ooh, I did it, and that kind of thing. Was gonna choose Making a Murderer, but I think like most of you guys like have seen Making a Murderer. It's all over the news, all over Facebook, and I think most of you kind of know the gist of Making a Murderer. So similar to that, I love real life, shocking, interesting kind of things like that. I love documentaries. And my favourite documentary at the moment is The Staircase. It's one of those, it lets the viewer decide like if you're on his side or if you're on like the court side of things. Again, like Making a Murderer, you get to make your own judgment, which I really like, and definitely as a viewer makes you feel really included, makes you feel really into the programme, and it makes it more intense. And basically The Staircase, it's got this typical guy, starts with a phone call to the ambulance service that his wife has fallen down the stairs, and he found her like unconscious at the time at the bottom of the stairs, and then it just like it spirals from there really. And it's sort of like, obviously he gets arrested. Sorry if you haven't seen it, I'm spoiling it. Basically he gets arrested because obviously like, oh, you did it. They look into his past, find out that his past wife was also found at the bottom of the staircase. So they basically assume obviously he killed them, but sort of like it's your thoughts of like the police planted evidence because these women were like beaten to death. And did the police like plant blood evidence like in his shorts, because with blood splatter goes upwards when you beat someone, apparently. I don't know. They found his wife's blood splattered up his shorts, so it's obviously proved that he must have killed her. But it's sort of like, but did the police plant the evidence, or is this like legit? So it's sort of, you make your own decision. The series sort of ends a bit weird, like on a cliffhanger, like, oh, okay, like, so what was the outcome of this then? What actually happened? It kind of makes it good because you want another series. You want to know more about it. Again, with Making a Murderer, like, you just want more. You want these questions answered. So definitely give it a watch. Sorry if I've spoiled it, but I guess I haven't really spoiled it because there's so much. There's like just so many details, so many little intricate bits, all the DNA, the forensics. It's fascinating. So obviously, if you love a good murder documentary like myself, check out The Staircase. And finally, my 5th favourite Netflix original has to be a cartoon. You know, just because I'm 23 doesn't mean I can't enjoy a good cartoon. I sort of prefer a more like adult humour kind of comedies, adult humoured kind of cartoon series. Definitely now that I'm grown up, I can sort of understand adult humour and like innuendos in these kind of things. So for my 5th and final Netflix favourite has to be Big Mouth. And if you haven't heard of Big Mouth, it's definitely, well, I suppose it's sort of like a coming of age, you know, hitting puberty sort of cartoon. It's absolutely hilarious. It sort of follows the growing up and maturing of these group of friends, and each of these characters have sort of like a spiritual guide called a hormone monster. And oh my god, they're so funny. It's so rude. It's kind of like disturbing, disgusting, but that's like right up my alley when it comes to comedy. I love like dark, rude, sexual humour. It's absolutely brilliant. I won't give too much away. There are 2 series now. I did start watching it as soon as it came out on the first series, and as soon as I finished it, I needed more. So when the 2nd season came out, I was thrilled to bits. Started watching it straight away. Finished it, I think, that same evening. It's addictive. All the characters, so well played. The cartoon drawings, like, it's just so well done. It's so well done that it sort of like makes it kind of gross, but like it's so enjoyable to watch. It's sort of like there isn't really like a running theme. It just sort of, obviously, as I said, follows them through their like maturing. And also, in a way, it does also follow some kind of like taboo topics. Obviously, with maturing and growing older, you can come across anxieties and depression, and it sort of covers that in such a clever way, and like drug addiction and like, you know, bad habits, smoking and all that kind of thing. But how it does it, it's so clever that you kind of don't really realise it's a taboo topic, like, because it's so funny as well, and then it sort of like goes from like this dark moment and like the mood goes straight back up again. Like, it's so clever, and you're sort of like, oh, that could have been quite dark actually. So when like the dark moment passes, it sort of brings it back up to like a light-hearted, funny sort of vibe, and that's what I really, really love about Big Mouth. So if you're into that sort of thing, maybe you're like, oh, it's a bit too weird for me, just give it a chance, see if you like it, because I definitely did, and I highly recommend it. So as always, thank you so much for watching my video, and thank you for being here, not just on my channel, but on the planet in general. As I always say, if you enjoyed watching, please give this video a big thumbs up. I'd love to know some ideas for future, my top 5 favourites, so leave them in the comments below. And while you're here, while you're lurking, please hit that big red subscribe button and join the Jellibean family. I would love to have you, and until next time, please take care of yourselves, stay beautiful, stay wonderful, and I'll see you next time. Bye!